You see the dilemma, don't you? If you don't kill me, precogs were wrong and pre-crime is over. If you do kill me, you go away, but it proves the system works. The precogs were right. So, what are you going to do now? What is it worth? You'll rot in hell with a halo, but people will still believe in pre-crime. All you have to do is kill me like they said you would. Except you know your own future, which means you can change it if you want to. You still have a choice, Lamar, like I did.
I had to fuck it up. Was that a quote or a monologue?
That was a quote.
A monoquote.
A monoquote. It was a lot, but I mean, you know, it kind of encapsulates the issues here. But there's lots of issues with this. I mean, really, like.
Hey, who are you two guys? Who are you two?
I have no idea. I just work here. I am actually Agatha, the happy precog.
Yeah, we know you like your girl's freaky.
Agatha, the happy precog.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert, and I am your host for today. Only for today.
This is Geo, Captain Chaos.
And Ray from Down Under, the man scientist.
Somehow he's always ahead of us, though.
Yeah.
Right. Don't you forget it. So what have you lunatics been watching besides Minority Report?
A lot of One Piece. Sci-fi. Okay.
No bullshit. No anime bullshit, man.
I've been the last episode that Star Trek that I watched was
what Star Trek you watched that really?
No,
it's such a great show, man. I saw the one. I can't remember. I forgot the name. It's the Mirror Universe one where Kira and the Doctor.
I'm glad you forgot it.
Went through the wormhole and ended up in the Mirror Universe. I remember when I first watched this, it was really, really cool because they make a reference to Kirk and how he was the one who kind of helped. Like he's like a major name, even though in this universe it had happened like 100 years in the past. But I don't know, it just tickled my fancy because, I remember seeing that episode on the original Star Trek. And then see references. I mean, this is not the only reference that we see. And of course, Ahsoka, which, oh my God, yes. I try not to say much because, I feel Ray here. I don't want to, but
I need to catch up. I totally do.
But if you want to hear our comments on that, I suggest you guys go and download our Ahsoka episode.
Yeah, I had a lot to say about Sabine.
Yeah, we're all Sabine simps except for one.
Yep.
That is correct.
Okay, so that's my sci-fi for.
What have you been watching, Gio?
Me? I haven't been watching much since last time we recorded, guys. To be honest, Mushoku Tensei is not sci-fi. That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, not really.
Yeah,
that is a guy.
Yeah. I'm actually not watching Isekai. I'm watching VR MMO anime.
There you go.
Shangri-La Frontier. It's got a slapping opening and it's so self-aware. It just cracks me up. So I recommend it.
I think I have it on Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll, yeah.
Yeah, it's Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I have it on the list.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot of time for watching, so I was watching that.
Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what we. Okay, so I guess we can move on to our next segment. We are Science Fiction Remnant.
This is the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
We are the Caribbean Science Fiction Network.
We are Monorats.
We are One Accord Level 2 Podcast.
This is Jesse from Sudden But Inevitable and Open Pike Night.
This is Sci-Fi.
And I want to remember everybody that if you want to find that gateway to go and hang out, at least virtually, I mean, we're not that far in the future yet. Uh,
I am.
but you are.
Yeah,
I
he's
want to
always,
see you. I want to see you writing a hashtag and walking into it.
he's always ahead of us, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got to stay one step ahead.
I want to see you how do you walk into a hashtag, man. Definitely. Then we can go and watch Robert make Robert watch Babylon 5 and push him into it.
They'll make the new series of Babylon 5 before Robert gets around to watching the old one. You watch.
No, once I finish One Piece, I'll start that one.
Oh yeah, he's never gonna get there. He's gonna have probably a lot of rewatch of Doctor Who and more Star Trek before he even cares for that.
You know,
He hasn't even watched Dragon Ball, man.
It's on,
neither have I.
it's on the list. On the list.
I watched the Broly movie because somebody wanted me to.
Hey, at least, man, you did that. But
Yeah.
Robert, if you haven't watched Dragon Ball by now, you won't.
The movie is awesome, man.
There's not live. There's a lot of animated movies about Dragon Ball.
Sorry, I had to do that. We
I
give
know,
all
I
your
know.
hate mail to Captain Chaos.
Yeah, and if you like shitty things, you can just share with Robert. He loves it. But to remind everybody too, like we started this hashtag. This is sci-fi, and it helped us really to break all the silos of everything sci-fi. Really, it unites everybody. It's like going to a Comic Con or like a place that is full of cosplayers. You know, it's like it doesn't matter what you like, you feel at home there. And that's what happens when you use this is sci-fi. So make sure that you can use it in any social media. That's the beautiful thing about hashtags is that they are everywhere now, and they're a great gateway to find those things that you love with more ease. So make sure that you use this is sci-fi, and let's keep it going with that. And if you want to join us for discussion on the hashtag and Discord, go ahead and call us if you like. Our Discord channel is in our link bio, so go and check it out too. I'm always there, and the guys too. We're always making very, very bad jokes that we laugh of our own jokes.
Such bad
You know?
jokes.
Yeah, and if you want, you can leave me a message to me, Robert or Ray. Ray for scientific stuff, and Robert for shitty IP, and I take care of the hate mail. And make sure it is 305-563-6334. I repeat, 305-563-6334. And if you like, we can actually play your message in our next episode. So make sure that you go ahead and drop us a couple of lines, man.
That'd be
Awesome.
good.
Awesome.
Robert, are you aware that January 2024 will be 30 years since Babylon 5 first aired?
Oh. So
30
I smell an
years.
opportunity. I smell an opportunity. And if you guys are not following us on YouTube, you should, because it would make sense.
It would.
I smell an opportunity. Okay, so should we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout outs. And I want to first give a special thank you to Cinema Rico for the continued support. I am glad that you like our last episode. And he made a cool ass comment too about it. Tank Girl.
Yeah.
It's an awesome movie, man. It's one of a kind. And actually, it's something that it figures that Cinema Rico like is because Tank Girl is one of those movies, you know? It's like one of those classics that stand out on its own kind. Uh, and they have great taste, you know. So I want to make sure take opportunity to let everybody know if you haven't and you're not following them, go and check them out. You can find them on X, Twitter. It's cinema_recall, and in the link bio you can find all the platforms so you can listen to them in your favorite preferred platform. So go and check them out. They're awesome. They talk about all those great classics and movies that everybody loves and like. I'm sure that everything they talk about, you're gonna like it. So go and check them out. The other one is for a very good friend of ours. I think that just wanted to put that out there to our dear Nikki, and go and check her out. She's on IG, she's in Twitter. You can find her on Instagram. The Nikky Nikky 162. She's been with us from the beginning. She's actually our voice for This Is Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to have her again soon too. We're planning to do something, but she's a superstar now, so it's more difficult for her. We understand, but we're gonna get there. We're talking with her, and let's see how soon we can do it. I want to let everybody know that when you check it out, use headphones. It's not safe for work, and make sure you're 18 plus. Don't go asking your daddy and mommy permission. No, no. Okay, go watch Sesame Street.
Yeah, you will be.
uh, and and that's it for today. A big kiss and a hug for Nikki. If you want to find her, go to www.dearnikki.com and you can find her there in your preferred platforms. And that's it for today, for today's shout outs.
Awesome. Okay, so going on to the next segment.
The Alita Army News.
I love how that's old school manual rather than
Oh,
dear. Much like the original source material of Alita is old school as well. It's even older than Babylon 5. Kishiro started writing in the 1990s. So yeah, there's people. I'm sure there's people listening right now who are like, "Yeah, I wasn't born then." Fair enough too.
That's true, man.
But yeah,
Thank you, Ray, for reminding us that we are old.
yes. Well, you can talk. Robert and I
Not
are
like
older
you
than
need.
you, man.
We're going
Look,
down the drain hole.
Age is just a number. Young at heart. Anyway, so the Alita Army got together as usual on Radio Chaos on 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturday for episode 183 of Radio Chaos, which was going back to the original manga, the source material. Was Gumu, Angel of Redemption, Flask of Karma, Cycle 3 Laboratory, which is a big turning point in the what we call the Zerkapan arc, which is where Zapan ends up with the Berserker body, and it's all bad news and downhill from there. And in this particular chapter, yes, that's what happened. The Berserker body had the limiters released from it because Nova's a dick, and he let the thing out, and it basically grabbed the brain that he was trying to regenerate, which happened to be Zapan's brain. And yeah, bad things happened.
So she has a brain?
Well, the Berserker body is like a nanite organism. And it's,
No. I was asking, Japan had a brain. I didn't think so.
Yeah,
I thought that he
did.
just up on your face.
Scary, but true. Yeah, no. He did have a brain.
just a pretty face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a Mayan calendar on the back. Well, at least the movie.
Well, that was in the movie. Yeah, he didn't have that in the manga.
But is he a pretty boy in the manga?
Oh yeah, until he wasn't. Until Alita got to him.
Oh, did they chop his face, motherfucker?
I can't remember my faith. My faith.
He met Bon Quick when she caught him.
Yeah. Could have been worse. She could have slashed lower.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a penis.
And just to wrap up the Alita Army news, there was a couple of articles that came out in the last week to do with interviews with Robert Rodriguez, who is saying that he's having continued conversations with James Cameron about Alita sequels, and it's moving forward. So I would say that they're putting together the proposal to throw at Disney and see what sticks. And it hopefully won't be too long that we see a green light. That's what I'm looking forward to. Because I haven't had any booze for 2 years, and I'm waiting until the green light drops. fall off the wagon. So we'll see what happens then.
That's what I call self-control.
That's right.
Awesome. Okay. So I guess we're ready for this. This is one of those really, really cool, interesting stories.
I'm not really sure I'm ready for it, actually.
No? Gio,
Yeah,
are
this
you ready
movie,
for
this
it?
movie kind of bugs me a bit. I'm not saying in a bad way. It's a bit weird, off, or something. I don't know exactly why.
I think that's maybe because this movie follows a lot of utopianism, which is odd.
Well,
And
the
it never ends
utopianism is
well.
only a very thin crust, and it breaks every
Yes,
now and again.
yes. No, that's the thing. Most utopianism does that because it's proven science that we humans cannot have it all. We'll fuck it up just for something to change because that's that's the meaning of life is change.
You're
And when
happy
you give
and
us
you know it,
all,
overthink.
I
You're happy and you know it, overthink.
I think this might be the precursor to an utopianism era. Only because what Rape mentions, how it keeps on breaking all the time, and that's usually how it happens before they can figure out a solid um, method to continue on. And obviously, at the end of the movie, it just everything fell apart. So, but the thing is, although and we'll probably get into it, although it definitely fell apart at the end of the story. Uh, Society has already kind of gotten used to the fact of having something like that. So it is possible that society and people within this universe will go back to figuring out what can work. What can we do to make this work? Because obviously it didn't work the way that they had it. They don't have precogs anymore, so that's a big obstacle. So I don't know. That's just my thought when I was watching this. I mean, society already got used to this, so hmm. And of course, um, I'm telling you, if you are not following us on YouTube, you should go to YouTube. Type in Science Fiction Remnant and follow and subscribe, because you could see me live. I break all the time with with, with with the comments that are put on the screen that you guys, if you are only listening to the pod, you won't be able to see.
We have a ticker, and the evil scientist from Down Under likes to play with the ticker and throw people off their trains of thought.
and honestly, every time that I say something, everything that I say something very dark is just rewarding to see Robert's indignation face. As he looks down, he says, "Oh God!"
Help me!
It's so rewarding.
But I guess before we continue, we should like go on with something in particular.
What could that be? What could it be? I don't know.
What do you think, Captain Kale?
Gee.
Do you know what that might be?
Nah, me of all people, you're gonna ask.
I don't know.
Him?
Of all
What it
people,
is? It's something that's missing.
he asked the most clueless one in the group. Damn. I'm disappointed on you,
Hey,
Robert.
mad scientist, do you know what could be? I mean, I'm
Oh yeah, I think I
glad.
do know what it is. Let's talk about plot, baby.
Yeah, let's go ahead and continue with the plot first before we.
Alrighty.
Why?
I apologize for having to listen to my voice for several minutes, but this is not a small plot.
Predicting noodles.
Yeah, I'm predicting a long plot. It's a precog. It's a long plot. Well, I'll just say that this is a 2002 movie, so it's over 20 years old now, which is surprising. The budget was 102 mil, and the box office was 358.4. So it was marginally successful. It wasn't a Marvel movie, or making billions, but it did reasonably well for something that wasn't part of a bigger franchise. So the plot. In 2054, the federal government plans to nationally implement the Washington, D.C. prototype pre-crime police program, which has been operating for 6 years. 3 clairvoyant humans, called precogs, receive psychic impressions of an impending homicide, and the officers analyze their visions to determine the location and apprehend the perpetrator before the crime can occur. Would-be killers are then placed in electronically induced coma and held in a... what the hell is that word? Panopticon, like prison facility.
Grammar outsmarts the scientist.
It's a word I've never seen before. And anyway, although pre-crime has eliminated nearly all premeditated murders during its 6-year existence, spontaneous crimes of passion called Red Bull killings still occur, given the police only a short time to act. Now, I will mention that this only deals with murders. It doesn't deal with all sorts of other things like thefts and rapings and other types of crime. It only does murders. There was a reason for that. Do you remember what that was? Because it was it's something about only murder. The killing of another person causes ripples in something or other, and they can pick up on them. There was some sort of dodgy reason why it only worked on murders. But anyway. Pre-crime chief John Adderton.
Well, based on Harry Potter, somebody splits the skull.
Right. So I blame the Sorting Hat. That's what I always say when it's Harry Potter. I blame the Sorting Hat. Pre-crime chief John Adderton joined the program after his 6-year-old son Sean was abducted and never found. He suffers from depression and addiction to the drug Neuroin. I guess it's like heroin, but something to do with your brain cells.
Legal.
And his wife Lara had left him. Department of Justice agent Danny Whitwer. Whitwer? Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Whitwer. Audits the pre-crime operation, intending to uncover any flaws. He's from the Department of Justice, working under the Supreme Court, because they're looking to make pre-crime national rather than just in the DC area. Intent on uncovering any flaws. Agatha, one of the precogs, experiences a flashback to a woman's drowning as Adderton watches. Curious, he learns that the prison warden that the intended victim, Anne Lively, went missing shortly after her murder was prevented. However, he also discovers that Agatha's vision of the crime is not on file. Soon afterward, the precogs predict that Adderton will kill a man named Leo Crow, whom he has never met. Adderton flees, prompting Whitwer to begin a manhunt. Adderton visits Dr. Iris Heinemann, a geneticist whose research led to the creation of pre-crime, and learns that the precogs' abilities are the result of brain damage caused by their parents' addiction to early impure forms of neuroin. Heinemann explains that one precog occasionally sees a different future vision than the others, known as a minority report. These discrepancies are purged from the official record in order to maintain the precogs' reputation of infallibility, but the precogs retain their memories. If Adderton wants to have the minority report, Heinemann says it will likely have been generated by Agatha, since she is the strongest of the three. After undergoing eye transplant surgery to evade the retinal scanners installed all over the city, Adderton returns to pre-crime. Wow, that kind of skips over the whole thing with the eye surgery guy who was actually like burning his patients when he was setting them on fire when he was a plastic surgeon. And
the doctor that he locked up himself.
Yeah, and he had locked him up previously. Oh, that refrigerator was gross with all the off food.
Oh
in
my
there.
God, yeah, my stomach turned.
Oh my God, bro! I mean, have you ever heard if you cannot see anything, sniff?
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Damn.
I suspect if he'd opened the refrigerator, he would have smelt all that mold for sure.
Yeah, man, but it's not the same if I see shit in front of me that if I grab it and put it in my face.
I would think you could feel it too.
There's an intensity to
I
it,
can
man.
feel
Proximity
on a rotted sandwich.
I mean, all you'd have to do is pick the sandwich up and sniff it, and if it's
Yeah.
smelt off, put it down, not in your mouth. But
No,
anyway,
he's
I digress. I digress. Okay, so he gets an eye transplant surgery and returns to pre-crime. Skipped over the whole spiders and everything because they were pretty cool. But,
like my friend Ray said, the war of the worlds.
exactly.
Like pretty much.
Using his removed old eyes, which he kept after the transplant surgery, he enters the temple where the precogs are kept and kidnaps Agatha, shutting down the group mind on which pre-crime depends. It was really interesting, the fact that they didn't actually lock out his ID. Anyway. With his,
Boom, boom.
yes. With the assistance of a cyber criminal, Addison searches Agatha's memories but fails to find the Minority Report of Crow's murder. However, he finds and downloads her memories of Anne's death. The two track Crow to a hotel room and find photos of many children, including Sean. Addison accuses Crow of killing Sean and nearly kills him, but relents at the last moment because he has choice, because he knows what his future is. Crow then claims that he was hired to plant the photos and begs Addison to kill him, saying that his family will only get paid if he dies. When Addison still refuses, Crow kills himself in a manner similar to the precog's vision of Addison killing him. So basically grabbed the gun in the guy's hand and forces him to pull the trigger, shooting himself. Yeah, it was a bad day for those guys. Tipped off by Addison, Whitwer investigates Anne's case and finds discrepancies to suggest that she had indeed been murdered. He reports his findings to Lamar's boss, director of pre-crime. He directs his findings to Lamar Burgess, director of pre-crime, who kills him with Addison's gun. Nice guy. And the reason that he didn't get pinged for that one was because Agatha was out of the trio and the other two couldn't see without her. Addison is arrested and imprisoned for the murders of Crow and Whitwer, so he was framed basically for both of them. And Agatha is returned to the other precogs. After Addison's imprisonment, Lara discusses Addison's concerns with about Anne Lively with Burgess. Initially, Burgess denies any recollection of Anne Lively, but later in the same discussion says that he will look into her drowning, a detail Lara never mentioned. She becomes suspicious and breaks Addison out of prison, allowing him to confront Burgess at a banquet celebrating the national launch of pre-crime. So basically, they were launching a thing that wasn't working at the time. And a Neuron addict and Agatha's mother had given up custody of Agatha. Sometime later, she broke her habit and tried to reclaim her daughter. Burgess hired a man to kill Anne, knowing that pre-crime would intervene, then killed her himself in the predicted manner afterwards. The pre-crime technicians disregarded the second murder vision as an echo of the first one. Once Addison began to investigate, Burgess arranged for Crow to pose as Sean's abductor in order to provoke Addison to murder. A Red Ball report comes in indicating that Burgess will kill Addison. As the two men face each other down, Addison points out the dilemma facing Burgess. He can spare Addison and watch pre-crime be discredited and shut down, or validate the program by killing him and go to prison. Burgess asks Addison forgiveness before killing himself. He took option C. And that's where the quote came from, that scene. Addison and Lara reconcile, with Lara becoming pregnant with another child. Pre-crime is abandoned and the prisoners are pardoned and released, although many are under police surveillance for a long time to come because they were dangerous after all. The precogs are moved to an undisclosed location far away from, other people that they could be, seeing their murders or intent to murder and things like that. And they live in peace, roll credits, and Admiral Happy Endings is happy because there's a happy ending. Thank you, Steven Spielberg.
You read my mind. I was going to say that.
We both know this man far too well. That one there.
Maybe that's why I said this is such a good movie.
Yep.
Probably.
Okay, so
Moral of the story: if your kid dies, just have another one.
Air and a spare, as they say.
oh my god, um, that was dark. So I guess we all here kind of seen this movie multiple times.
Oh,
So I guess the question is, who's seen it? Who remembers seeing this? Who who's actually seen this the earliest? Um,
I saw it on home release.
on home release. Okay,
Yeah.
because
It
I
was
think
probably 2003 ish.
I sure I was the latest one to watch it
so. Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I'm thinking.
because movies like these guys like you guys get to watch it on the release usually for I'll wait for it to get dubbed or subbed. As a kid, I didn't really watch movies that were subbed. I was too dumb and lazy to really read and pay attention to a movie. So waiting till it's dubbed. We're talking about 5, 6 years for a decent dub because you just don't enjoy any dub. you know.
Um,
So I'm sure you both watch it first.
yeah, I just can't remember who, either me or Ray, but we both saw it on.
Ray, he's in the Down Under, man. He's in the
Oh
future.
yeah, you're right.
Did
You're
did,
right.
did you see it at the cinema, Robert?
No, home release.
Oh, yeah.
Home release.
So we're probably around the same time.
Yeah. So I guess that leaves our very own Captain Chaos to answer the question first. And the question that we always ask is, how old were you when you watched this for the first time, and what was your very first impression?
I probably was like 15, 14. Uh, it left me open mouth. I could watch Utopianism and be like, wow, before uh, and I mean it has a very smart plot, so it was very entertaining. It keeps you on the edge of the seat. It's a good watch for sure. I think so,
Okay.
and I loved it. That after that, that's what I watched. This movie I watched it maybe at least 10 times.
I remember seeing this movie multiple times too. Um,
10 times is like the borderline. It's not really comfort TV, so you don't really go there all the time. But once every other decade, you go watch it.
yeah. Right. You want me to go, or you want to go next?
Maybe I'll go next. So I saw this on home release. I think I actually have a DVD of it kicking around somewhere, which I picked up cheap. What the Video Easy in places like that used to do was buy a bunch of DVDs, rent them out until the movie was no longer like new, and then they'd sell off half of the rental DVDs, and I picked them up cheap. So I
That's
think
kind of like what GameFly does.
yeah. So I think I think I watched it off the DVD once, and my initial impression was, yeah, but nah, it didn't really sync with me very well. I don't think so. I didn't feel like watching it. So I've only actually seen this twice. Once on home release and once like last night. So
Oh, wow. Interesting.
so
we'll
it's only a double.
we'll get to that question on like the differences later on in the show.
Yeah,
But
sure.
awesome. So if you don't have any else to add, I guess I can go next.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we seen it around the same time. I definitely was in mid-20s. I can't remember exactly how old I was, other than the fact it was a home release. And this movie attracted me for
You would have been 33.
33, really?
My age.
Yeah.
Okay. So it grabbed me, obviously, because at that age I was already consuming every
Well, where did it grab you?
that it was
Pinky.
so it blew my mind. The concept, it was
No. You say it grabbed you. So in my mind, it's like the movie did like, woohoo!
Captain Chaos point. Um, the movie was gave me a concept that I have never really analyzed before, and it's the concept of um, preventing crime before it happens, and the consequences and ethical dilemmas that comes after that. And it blew my mind because of that reason, because it's something that at that time I never really thought about. It's brand new concept for me. Um, and it's just it was just amazing. I was just blown away. Um, and I guess this was what prompted me to watch this movie multiple times after. So it just this movie to me will always I always would remember this movie as being one of those few the few list of movies that I have that really got me to think about new concepts. Um, and I really enjoy films like this. As you know, if you guys listen to our show long enough, you know that we, uh, in general, will really like films that make you think. But whenever a film not only make you think, but make you think something new, it's a toy for me. I'm like Glee. So it's really interesting how our responses were, basically completely different. And of course, as I see this film throughout the years, um, you have a better understanding, a better comprehension. But I always remember this film as being one of the ones that kind of challenged my thought process into a new concept.
I think that that's one of the many things that makes it the more rewarding experience, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's because I think in my perspective is because it, it it opens your mind to something new.
Hmm.
And of course, I mean, if you have seen this film um, a while ago, when especially the younger you are, the more of a impact it typically would make.
Hmm.
So I wonder if you out there are listening to this show, and if you are one of those that you have seen this, especially when you were younger, reach out to us and let us know. I'm really curious to see and hear from you I if this was kind of like your perspective when you watch this for the first time, or you had a completely different perspective than the ones that we had right here across the three of us here. So that actually leads me to one question as I was thinking about this, and I'm gonna first direct it to Ray, and then uh, Captain Chaos can chime in.
All
Um,
right.
so when you watch this film for the first time, and and obviously this goes for the two of us, I'm kind of curious to hear our mad scientist perspective on this. W- Was this a concept that you knew of? I mean, was your experience similar to mine, or if not, because I noticed that you said something bugged you about it. Um,
Yeah.
w- was was that the reason why it wasn't the same experience that I had? I mean, was this a concept that you already had in mind when you watched it, or was this a concept that you really quite didn't thought about before?
Um, I'm I can't actually tell you exactly what didn't jive with me for this movie. It's not a bad movie. It's got a good plot, good pacing, lots of action, all sorts of futuristic technologies that we'll get into later, but some of which have already come to pass. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it was that didn't work for me with this movie. It I don't know. Maybe. I mean, this was years ago now, but maybe back then I had a cleaner vision of the future. I was more down the like Star Wars and Star Trek sort of clean vision of the future, and this wasn't. Although it had lots of good technology, it wasn't a clean vision of the future. It was a flawed utopia. Gio, you're muted. Can't hear.
There you go. I can fully visualize in my mind a younger Ray saying like, "Oh, come on, no boobs."
Oh wow! I was thinking.
So I get what
Couldn't
you're
you
saying.
see? Couldn't
I
you
get
see
what you're
Agatha's
saying.
boobs through the jumpsuit that she was in the water, in the
Yeah,
milky stuff?
probably. That's why she couldn't drown. Floaters. There you go. That's the face. That's what I do this for.
Oh God!
You're a
Okay.
bad man.
You were saying something, Ray?
Was I? Was I really? Yeah. I don't know what it was. Something about this
Wobbles.
movie didn't jive with me, and maybe it was just the age that I was at. I was looking for something different in my sci-fi, but watching it again with a more mature perspective, I can see a lot of predictions in here and presentation which did work. And now a movie that came out 2 years later, I, Robot, which had a very similar take of this is our future. It's not all shiny and clean and new. There's a lot of the old stuff just decaying around the place as well. It took the same approach, but I don't know. It did it better, I think. But I mean, yeah, Minority Report's got a lot of grunge in it. There's a lot of like the eye surgery and the shitty tenements and there's a lot of stuff in there that's not utopian at all.
Well,
which is I guess is the
No, I
benefit.
mean that's
wanna
honestly,
add
if
to
you
that.
think of, it's very cyberpunkish. If you think,
I want
about
to
it.
add to that. And just shortly, I mean, you guys can continue, but I just want to add to that because this film
That's
was
okay, man.
supposed
I'll
to
tell
be,
you to shut up if anything.
this movie was supposed to be an R-rated film. It was supposed to be gritty, like the French Connection, 1971.
I thought that R-rated means that the movie's R.
Well, your R-rated is different than my R-rated. Let's put it that way. But it was
Is One Piece R-rated?
Arr. So it was supposed to be set in the future of a similar future like RoboCop.
Yeah.
So that's why the thing is the studios didn't want, so they had to forego that, and they ended up with what we have. But some of the stuff's remained, and that's the stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same. What the aesthetics that
Yeah. Maybe that's what was bugging me because I enjoyed RoboCop. RoboCop seemed to hang together better than this movie. In that yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't. That's probably what it is. The aesthetic doesn't stay stable. It jumps around a bit.
Here's the difference I think between RoboCop and this is that RoboCop revolves around a smaller circle of characters in the plot, but this has a whole department, a whole organization. So the scope of the whole thing is more spread out. And it's funny that Robert mentioned about the idea of utopianism. We're covering other movies like this. Usually, all of these movies are telltales because uh, uh, Equilibrium, for example, The Matrix, this movie, what all movies that bring some kind of utopianism into the picture, it shows like when the system is in place being implemented and it fails, you know. And this movie did the same thing. When the movie starts, this was a full blown operation going on, and it was the norm. When we were doing, when we were watching Equilibrium, same thing, you know. Uh, and basically, it's the development of it is different than RoboCop. If you think about it, RoboCop is a whole different history. So maybe maybe that's why it didn't feel more. RoboCop also gets you pumped about the superhero aspect of it. This is more like cyberpunk born supremacy kind of thing. This guy is really this motherfucker is fighting the whole system
Yeah.
to make sure that he doesn't get unfairly pushed down the line.
No, the reason why this movie didn't turn into have the complete RoboCop aesthetics is because the studios did not want a aesthetic for this movie to be like RoboCop, and they did not want it to be outrated. So there's a bunch of things that was changed.
No, they're totally different. I mean, another good movie that recalls me to the kind of sound of lines. You remember this? I don't remember the name of the movie, but you guys know this movie. It's for Schwarzenegger, and he goes like into a dream kind of place, and he dreams like he goes to Mars.
Total Recall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the Total Recall second movie too was very good too.
I like.
Oh, don't talk to me about a train that runs through the middle of the planet, because that's just sort of bullshit. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, that's more bullshit than a Martian chick with 3 tits.
Oh, look, it is. Seriously, it is. Like, I mean, we've talked about space elevators and mega projects before, but tunneling through the entire center of the Earth and creating things that can handle the heat in the center of the Earth, yeah, you can't. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Not for public transport. Just
Come
go
on, no
go the fuck
elevator,
around.
no elevator across it. I mean, I want to take an elevator to China and just say hi to Satan on my way there.
Oh my god.
yeah, to grow the freaking core of the earth.
Wow.
Yeah,
talk about
right.
mixing your metaphors.
We got shit that doesn't melt now.
And if you
Yeah,
look through your right
congratulations.
window, you'll see Satan. Say hi.
See you soon.
Satan's go. How you doing? Good, thanks God.
Okay, so
we
got
hi, this is a can of worms. I've opened it.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I really like that about the movie, and I think that the plot was very Machiavellically done, to be honest, because they even lure you to misunderstand who's the bad guy.
Oh yes,
very much.
Well, I mean, hindsight is 2020, and it's kind of obvious having rewatched the movie because I'd forgotten what the details of the movie were.
Oh yeah, sure.
So
once you see the balls, you know it's a rooster. Like we're watching it, yeah. But I bet you ass everybody watching the first time, you think that Danny's the motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's going after John all the time from the beginning, and he's being a total prick the whole movie. Oh, he was not the bad guy.
He was not. No, he was just doing his job properly.
Yeah, way too good.
Shocker. But the whole thing with a system like that is the only people who could get around it and fake murders is the people who created the system in the first place.
Yep.
And it wasn't the woman, because she got the hell out and she was off playing with her Triffids. And so who else could it be? There's only one.
Okay, I'm checking what the heck is a Triffid.
What? You don't know what a Triffid is? Give me your sci-fi card right now. Jesus. Robert, put Day of the Triffids. I don't care which one. Put Day of the Triffids on the list.
How do you write Triffids? How do you write it? How do you spell that?
TRIFFIDS, I believe.
IDS.
It's double F. Triffids. I mean, I was made to read that book in high school, which was one of the only ones I actually enjoyed reading that they forced me to read. Tom Sawyer. Anyway.
Okay, those are creepy looking things.
Yeah, they the Triffids. It's been the original book was in the 50s. I can't remember who wrote it.
I think it was 63. Let me see.
Yeah.
So this is a folklore monster.
And they did a movie in the 50s. They did another movie in the 80s. There's done another one recently, or it might have been a short TV series.
That's what I.
So in other words, it's a glorified carnivore plant.
Well, basically, it was supposed to have been found in a hidden valley near Mount Everest that nobody had been into before. And basically, it was a plant that you could harvest from it really strong medicines, which is why they were being grown all over the world, because people wanted the medicines from the plant. But the plant was actually able to move around.
Yeah, I mean, why we humans do that fucking thing, bro? We get things out of their natural habitat, and then we make a plague out of it and fuck things up, bro.
Well, the reason why it turned into a plague was because there was a meteor shower, and everybody watched the meteor shower, and it caused them blindness because they didn't know that there was a particular type of radiation that was going to come off the meteors breaking up in the atmosphere, and it caused everybody to go blind. But the main character in the story actually had something happen to his eyes, and so he was in hospital with his eyes wrapped up. So his eyes got better, and everybody else lost their vision, and these triffids broke out and started wandering around killing everybody. Okay. And they didn't have ropes tied to the loo and the refrigerator, so they were screwed.
So our very own Captain Chaos is prohibited from getting triffids for his house.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in having some creepy ass looking thing in my house that moves around, bro.
Knowing you'll pet it and feed it, and
no, now you have the idea that I am in the cast of the Prometheus movie. I'm not. Oh, danger! Go that direction. Yeah, I'm gonna do a trip like the guys in Prometheus, like, hey, kitty, pretty, come over here.
But I can't believe that they sent out like drones to map the entire thing, and then they got lost. It's like, use your drone map, you idiots.
Yep. But going back to the movie, like there's a lot of little signs too that shows the dystopian futures or tales, shows you some kind of totalitarianism too on it. Because when you see those little robots and these fucking cops that just land out of nowhere, like, come on, bro.
What team?
I had to laugh when the jetpack pre-crime police officers came flying down, and they've got the little flashing lights on their backpacks. And it's like, seriously.
The best move, bro, is when they go like they get it out of their sleeve, like freaking guns or something.
I was watching him fight like 6 guys, right? And I'm sure he's the main character. He's supposed to be tough, but like, we have tasers now that you don't have to get that close to use. I'm like, it's a gun, zap.
No, not even that, man.
Where were they? I mean, we have them now.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys have experienced pepper spray.
No, but I don't want to.
I haven't experienced it either, but I was once in a supermarket, and somebody like 10 lines in another cashier did this just to see if it worked, and everybody was evacuating the supermarket.
Capsaicin is nasty stuff when it's purified.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
so imagine the technology presumed on this future. You know,
it still wouldn't affect Tom Cruise.
No,
absolutely not. I mean,
he's too short; it would go over his head.
Exactly.
Yeah, the guy made his own stunts, man. What do you want?
he's just trying to be Jackie Chan, but it's not working so well.
No, he has to wait open.
Yeah, I think the creators of the films, this film, they were having some fun too with the film. There's 2 things that
elaborate, please.
Well, they're minor things, right? But I think they're fun little tidbits. When I was reading about this film, like the first thing that I noticed, what this thing that I'm going to explain was at the beginning.
By now, you're saying the thing so many times, it's called the thing.
The thing. We should cover that movie. So when the team is trying to find Howard, before he kills his wife and the lover. Um, the Ivana says there's only 30 seconds left. Remember when they looked at the clock?
Mm-hmm.
There was literally 30 seconds left from that moment that was said to the moment that John stopped Howard from killing his wife. That's the
Yep.
first little tidbit. And I think this is not the first time that where filmmakers actually play with the time of the film. I think we talked about this previously, but also the other thing that I noticed is when John kidnaps Agatha and Danny asks, "How much time do we have?" The pre-crime officer responds like 51 minutes and 30 seconds, which is basically the time that they have before like the pre-crime catches up with real time.
Mm-hmm.
But it also is 51 minutes and 30 seconds exactly to the end credits.
Wow.
Oh, Easter egg.
So,
That's some seriously tight editing.
well, I always wonder about that, how they can make it. I mean, is this like accidental or this?
No,
Like,
I don't think it's
it
accidental.
takes a lot of work to make something like that happen. You know, at least to my in my thought. But I always enjoy it.
I think that from the writer perspective, if they ever watch this episode, they're gonna be just laughing listening to this. But that's such a show off of mastery. That's what it is. That's just being flamboyant as a good writer to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And one thing that before I tell you, I'm going to ask you guys because this is something I watched this with my wife and we were kind of discussing this, and this is the reason why I looked it up because we already had that question. This is not something that I found out until like recently. I mean, I always looked at this scene and always wondered, but never really bothered to look it up until recently when my wife actually asked. Um, when he is bitten by the plants and he goes into that um I forgot the name of the where all the plants are. The lady is in
A nursery,
the nursery,
to the nursery.
and she gives him the antidotes for that plant. um what do you think about that scene when she kisses Tom Cruise? That-
She's great, bro. That lady is a total enigma,
uh-huh.
first of all. And I think that just gave her the edge, bro. I mean, come on, bro. She's a low. I just want to tell you, is Gilf horny her nursery? I think that no, but on a serious note, like I think that it was a very smart touch, very sophisticated way to give an edge to the character. Because she's certainly somebody very very smart. She was the one that implemented and founded Minority Report system.
Before I let Ray answer, I want to just ask you, how do you feel that kiss helped paint the character?
To me,
Yeah, like how would it? How did it? See, up to that time, you had a complete different view of this character when you were watching this film. And how did the character change, if any, from the moment that you saw that kiss happen?
I think that was some kind of subliminal way to say that she doesn't really even believe in all these things that she created. Because that's that. If you think about it, it's very oh my god, the word escaped me. It's very unpredictable
Mhm.
behavior, you know. And what it's all her life work about predictability and behavioral patterns.
Okay.
Because I don't think that she kissed him because she wanted to get down to business with him.
Oh, what
Eh,
a
eh, 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 for some reason, if you watch the scene, it was I don't know how, but there was not a sexual tension between them. He was like caught off guard,
Mhm.
and it was not like she tried to grab him more or anything. She purposely grabbed him, kiss him passionately, and then let him go.
Okay.
You know,
So Ray, going back to the question, what was your impression of that kiss? I want to concentrate mainly on
on the
the
kiss.
characters. What happens during that kiss.
Well,
Sun tongue for sure.
you've got to see this. You've got to. Can I get a sentence out? I don't know. This could be a problem. So you've got to try and put this woman's character together within the 6 or 7 minutes that she had screen time total. She had a plant on the fence that could kill by suffocation through toxins. So that's pretty scary. So she wasn't against hurting people. And she was breeding all these plants that weren't natural, like they were moving around. They were basically she was making trivets. So she wasn't a harmless little old lady. And it was interesting because I hadn't thought about it that way, Gio. I hadn't thought that she was being unpredictable and creating unpredictable things to go against the predictability of the pre-crime program. So, like, she helped build the pre-crime program, and then she went completely the opposite direction because maybe she felt guilty or it just didn't feel right for her, so she wanted to break out and go in the other direction. So she was doing all these unpredictable things. But yeah, I mean,
the way now that you mentioned that, just to elaborate on her character, the way that they portray her alone on a nursery also shows that even though she's the matriarch of this giant thing that is ruling and keeping society on check, she's being ostracized from it. So it's like you're the creator, you're the one that put everything on, but you're not the one that is sitting at the top in the throne, ruling the whole parade.
Yeah.
So that whole scene with her alone in there too, it shows that even though she's the one that brought all this onto the plane to be what it is today, she has been completely kicked out of it. Meaning because she might have realized after she had put it in place the monster she created, or because she was kicked out of it. Either one or the other way, you know.
So before I go on, I want to make sure that you guys have nothing else to add.
Oh, I was just going to say that we don't actually find out why, like how she left the program, like whether she chose to leave or was forced. So that's an interesting question that was left unanswered.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how do you guys would feel if I say that scene, at least the way that it happened on film, was not on the script nor it was rehearsed?
Figures as the natural surprised face in Grumped Up Cruz.
It was not in the script. It was not planned.
Are you talking about the whole scene or just the kiss?
The kiss.
Yeah, I figured the kiss wasn't on script. I was even going to say, maybe she just went, "Oh, Tom Cruise, I want a bit of that."
Yeah, bucket list, bro.
Well,
now or never.
I'm sure that in part, maybe that plays a part on it, obviously. However, I don't know if you know the actress is such a great actress.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is the reason why I brought it up this way, because I wanted to get that conversation started. Would it be possible that knowing what she's trying to do, and want to echo what Captain Kale said about how she's all about unpredictability. It's obvious from the things that she's creating, and knowing how she wants to paint the character in the people that are watching the movie. If she chose to do that last minute, just to kind of add to the shock value, only because this is something that anyone would react the same way that Tom Cruise would react, because it wasn't planned. It was just, he got one planted on him by surprise. And what we see on film is his actual surprise. And that actually, in my mind, and I'll hear from you guys and see what your thoughts are. In my mind, I think that she did. It was amazing, deciding to do that, because I think that helped paint the character in the light that was intended, in a very impressionable way. And it's something that the writers did not think about. The people that were anyone, and the filming of the movie did not think about, and it's something that came out on the fly from the actress to do. And I think it wouldn't be it would completely be a completely different scene if it wasn't done. um Especially since we know that, like, when you see that, um that the entire scene up to the moment where she gets a kiss is when you kind of get the aha moment of what this character is, and where she stands from. So I don't know who wants to go first on that, but I was just kind of curious as to
Well, I just wanted to add it that regardless, you can see on her reaction versus Tom Cruise's reaction, now having that information or not having it, that it was very premeditated move. She knows she was gonna do that.
she knew she was going to do that, and that is the question that I'm
Yeah,
asking. She did not tell anyone. It was not
no.
planned.
Of course. I mean, she's a smart lady. Why she's gonna ruin it for herself?
But what I'm,
So the actress's name is Lois Smith.
Mhm. So I like to think, and this is the reason why I was saying that, I like to think that this is something that, as a good actress, and how you want to paint a character, and that's the reason why, that's what makes a difference between a bad actor and a good actor, is the way that you could easily portray a character on the face of people viewing the film.
Don't go further. She's had what 7 minutes in the whole movie,
Exactly.
but she made an impressionable image of
Oh,
the whole
yeah.
story.
So that's my point. It's like, do you think, that did she do it because of that, or was there any other way, any other reason? I mean, granted, taking away the fact that, who wouldn't want to kiss Tom Cruise? That's a given.
I
Me,
don't. I don't.
Well, but that's
That's okay, man. We now know that you want.
yeah. His bucket list is Tom Cruise. Okay.
Don't worry. If I get to meet him, I'll take it to Fort Myers. But
You do
I
you,
mean, I think
Robert.
that I think that regardless of if you don't know what we're laughing even more now, you should be on YouTube.
I had the hashtag ready.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I was saying, I think that regardless, I think that that's one of the best things that good actors do throughout their careers that make them be reminded and make them remarkable, is when they actually improvise. And it's one of those wow effects that when you listen to somebody like, oh, do you know that this was out of script? Gets you like, holy shit, man. You know? That's the aha moments of of acting, if you
Well,
think about it.
you might think that going off script is bad, and it means that another take or editing or what
It's a
have
bold
you.
move.
It is a bold move, but some directors actually tell the actors, well, if you feel that there's something you want to do in a take that's not in the script, give it a go, see what happens.
Mhm.
And I don't know what the director, like Steven Spielberg, may be one of those that appreciate going off script occasionally, but obviously it worked with the story as far as the director was and the editor were concerned, that it stayed in. So that's how
And
we know
obviously, the director told her before the scene, exchange fluids with him.
Swap spit, baby, go for it.
I honestly think that set got quiet when that happened. I can visualize that.
You can see the face of surprise in Tom Cruise. It's so natural, man.
You did
It
what?
makes
With
sense.
who?
But
Yeah.
it,
was
but
like-
it actually plays for the character, because that's how he is supposed to react meeting this person that almost got him killed. So
Yeah,
it's
and then she
like,
she kisses him better.
Correction. He almost got himself killed because he wandered into a place without invitation. Don't victimize him. If I walk into the wolf's den,
I don't
you
have
know,
visitors, but when I do, I kiss them.
if they survive. If they make it all the way here.
I make them a cup of tea with weird roots and leaves of plants, and then I kiss them.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just curious about that, because that was very curious fact that I found, and it's all thanks to my wife for asking the question.
Why did he kiss him? Why did you kiss him?
No, because it's obvious, it was shocking, and she's like, was that planned? I mean, and she, because we could see Tom Cruise's face, and I was like, you know what? I always had that question. I've seen this movie so many times. I'm gonna go to Google. And
Well, kudos to you, Tom Cruise. You don't discriminate, man.
Tom Cruise, what the moment?
And I mean, the character of Tom Cruise throughout the whole movie, it was very interesting because he was very good at what he was doing, and he knew how to stay ahead of everybody throughout the whole thing. Well, besides a couple of things like jumping elevators in the middle of highways and shit like that.
yeah, but then again, that's Tom Cruise. He does that on a regular basis. So he probably has no stairs on his house.
He's an impossible guy.
But he just parkours from one level to the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, he rappels.
It's a real bitch when you don't have stairs and you've got to carry the laundry basket down to the washing machine.
Just dump it from the top.
How building site of you.
To comment on Captain Chaos's comment, I feel that I lost my train of thought.
Well, to comment on your comment, that you comment about my comment.
Yeah. It was commentful.
It was very comment on comments, the comments of your comment.
The scene that we forgot to elaborate on the scene of the doctor, man. That actor is a great actor.
Oh, that
was a nice camo.
I mean, look, you think that the woman that helped start pre-crime was creepy. The creep factor went up like another decibel or two with that doctor.
Oh my God, yes.
He was. I mean, the whole backstory of him being a plastic surgeon to the rich and famous and setting his patients on fire.
Oh God!
It's like, I put some of them out quickly.
Just adding a crisp touch to his work.
In that assistant, I mean,
oh yeah.
Oh my God, that was creepy. Yeah, let me help you out while I manhandle you.
She's taking a liking to you.
She only has eyes for you.
Bro, that was scary, lady. But I found funny that you asked like why he still serve him, But I think that I mean he's got a business to run,
He took the money, he did the operation, he nearly poisoned the guy, and then he set the cops on him.
You guys keep on saying that people want to kill John all across the movie. John puts himself in these bad predicaments. Nobody tries to kill him. Well, the bad guy at the end, yeah,
Lamar.
Lamar. But otherwise, nobody really tries to kill him. They just want to put him to sleep. He's too tired.
Oh.
There was one comment that we were talking about while we were watching this in the watch party, and you guys, if you don't know, you join our Discord, and we do have watch parties. We watched this in our watch party. Do you remember the scene when he's walking out, across the city, and all the eye scanners, every time they scan him, they kind of show him the advertising tailored
Yeah.
him.
Oh my god!
I
bro, that's
do not
horrific.
want a future where the advertising calls you out by name. I get so sick of hearing my name. It's like, shut up.
No, I was telling Robert. Robert's like, "Hey, would you like that?" I was like, "No, bro. Imagine if you have social anxiety, and then now you have to worry about people approaching you. You have fucking commercials talking to you. That's like the norm for full psychotic breaks.
Yep.
You're a psycho already. You're crazy. You got schizophrenia, man."
Hey,
Giancarlo, you look like you could use a beer. Why don't you have one of these beers?
beer.
Shut up.
Hey, you lost some weight. How about some new pants?
Are you judging me? Commercial. Judgmental commercials.
That is,
Welcome back, Mr. Yakitori. How did those skivvies work out for you?
yeah, that was yeah. So how about some new pants to match those tank tops that you got?
They didn't really go into it, but it kind of felt like there was AI running in the background there.
Yeah,
That's how it felt.
I definitely agree with that. It reminds me of something that happens today. It's not that. That is a very scary future. But with all the you're in Google, right? You're searching for something that you are interested in, or maybe you're planning to buy, or maybe getting information because you don't know if you want to buy it or not. And then all of a sudden you get into your social media and you get fed advertising about the stuff that you were looking for.
Yep.
And
big data.
But it's not talking to you, at least.
Yes, not yet.
Not yet.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to load up your web browser and something like Clippy pops up. Oh, so you're looking for porn? Why don't you try this?
That's why I always use incognito.
But all these cookies and all this stuff that is recording your information. I see. This is what that reminds me. That future, and it's really scary.
Now I think I found a hole in the plot. But
Only one?
Only one.
Yeah. But when he's seeing all this advertising directed at him, he had the eyes changed already.
No, he didn't.
No.
Oh,
Not
okay.
yet.
Okay.
No, when he did.
Because remember, he walked through there and then he got on the train and they were tracking him with his eyes.
True. So when he did, then it was like
It was a Japanese guy.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the second time. That's when he walked into the shop.
It's a flawless plot, man. Right, Ray?
Oh boy.
Okay. Should we talk about those little spider bots now or in the science behind science fiction? What do you reckon?
Can we if we can do it in the science?
Yeah, leave it for the science.
Yeah, if we can. If not, we can. Yeah,
because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, but and I mean, in short, without even digging into the science behind it, but in the philosophical aspect of it,
yeah,
it's one of those little details that shows you, like in utopian realities, nothing is above whatever is the law.
Mm-hmm.
It is,
because look at those things get in everybody's houses everywhere and scan everything. Nothing is private anymore.
that is
It's
the
scary.
big catch 22, right? So,
It's kind of dark if you think about
oh
it.
yes,
It is.
it is. You have all these crimes happening, so people that work that work in the crime control, I understand. I definitely understand. They want to put a stop to it. Especially when you
Hmm.
are a good crime control person, could be a police officer or what, or whichever it might be. If you are a good one, right, a person with a good moral or ethics, right, you have enough, you see enough tragedy on your day to day, and
Hmm.
it gets to a point, it's basically warns you down, right, and it changes a person. You become a completely different person, because the more you do, the less you feel you're controlling, and the more tragedy you still see. So you feel like you want to do some measures to prevent that because you don't want to see people suffer anymore. And this is where the dilemma comes in, where yeah, now we have. I mean, there are cities. I think in China. I can't remember honestly.
Yeah,
Don't
in China, the social score.
where they're having everybody as surveillance, as complete surveillance, with AI controlling. They're scanning your face and they can recognize who you are based on your face profile.
Yep.
Um, and I get it, right? I do
Hmm.
understand as an empath. I understand, but it's you're stepping on your privacy. You're
Yeah.
you're stepping on the human rights, your individual rights.
Yeah. I mean, how am I supposed to just kill somebody, chop them off, and put it in my fridge and eat them slowly? I can't.
I'm
So
glad.
yes,
But I think that the message behind that really is that's the small toll to pay for the safety provided.
and that is my
You know?
point.
If it
Because
worked properly, yes.
And I mean, looking at it from devil's advocate's point, I mean, you want safety or you want to do crime? If you don't want to do crime, then what's your problem hiding something?
Do you
You
want
know,
freedom or do you want safety?
you give away your freedom, and that's a big
of
problem.
course, of course, of course. But I'm saying devil's advocate here. You know,
I
uh, let's say that they are not spying on you and looking at you scrubbing your butt in the
and
bathroom. You
again,
know,
I'm talking about on a perfect scenario, right? Which we
yeah.
know it doesn't happen. So, because the people
Oh,
that hold
I
the
mean,
key,
for you, it exists everywhere.
the people that hold they created, just like we spoke earlier on this episode, the people that created the system, the people that manage the system, are the ones able to break the system. 'Cause they know
And usually the ones that want to be above it.
exactly. So that is the problem. I mean, we're talking about if the system works, if people are actually doing these things for the benefit of mankind, it's still bad because it takes away your freedoms, right? It's still bad.
Mhm.
Now let's add the fact that we are not all ethical. We are not all created equal, and someone wants they want to be above the law.
Hmm.
And this is basically the message that we see in this film. And this is why
Yeah.
the whole thing is scary, because I definitely I see it. I see. I don't want to see a family lose, their the dad, where the mom and now the kids are alone because someone in a robbery killed the husband that was the only person bringing, that's a tragedy.
Hmm.
And I understand it. As a police officer, you don't want to see that.
I
uh
didn't know you were a police officer.
no, I'm not. But I'm saying, um this kind of line of work does change a person, and you want to do things drastic like that to prevent that thing from, things like that from ever happening again. But in the other hand, we have your liberties, your freedoms.
That's that. I think that the gist of the idea behind it is that everything in excess is bad. Is bad because that's what you see here with the implementation of the law. It's excessive. You know, there's no boundaries in between. You know, I mean, for them to be able to send a freaking whole patrol of little spider robots and scan your whole house, there's no bounds. You know, and then again, everything in excess or with no boundaries. There's a phrase that I came up with like 2 years ago that says that uh, a life with no boundaries is the path of self destruction. You
Yeah.
know, there always need to be boundaries. That's balance, and that's very unbalanced if you think about it on a way.
Well, to put it in a different perspective, and I don't know if Ray would agree with my the comment that I'm about to make, but
Probably not.
whenever whenever we have a system, whenever we have, let's say for example, what we talked about, how there's surveillance. You know, if people are getting scanned with AI and they recognize who you are based on your face profile. There's always someone that wants to do something more and then something more, and that always changes and evolves, and it could, in theory, evolve into something that what we see in this film
Hmm.
because of the human factor,
Did you
right?
know that? Did you know that this scoring system actually, if you jaywalk and you don't pay your bill, if you jaywalk, or you get credit scored subtracted. If you go bad enough, you cannot take train fares. You cannot go and use your scores to buy stuff in stores. It literally is detrimental to the person's life quality. So
Mhm.
he enforces the person to behave acceptably throughout that social circle, or they would actually suffer a consequence.
Well, it's a perfect carrot and stick, not parrot and stick. Parrot would be really annoying. A perfect carrot and stick analogy in
Hmm.
that if you don't eat our carrots, we'll hit you with our stick, and
Yep.
you'll regret it.
Literally.
So
And that's
you
how
want
you
to be
see
able to
everybody
function.
falls in line. You know, everybody falls in line because I think I said this in previous episodes, but there have been statistical studies that show that about 70 to 80% of the world population that have the critical thinking to really even oppose a mandate, even if it's not uh, just, you know, just because it's the law, they will follow it.
Well, it could be the frog in the pot of water analogy that it's the temperature's raised so slowly that the frog doesn't jump out and
Hmm.
boils to death, and it's the same sort of thing with all these little controls being added slowly and surely that you
Gradually.
may not even notice them in your everyday life until it's too late.
Hmm. And if you think about human history, really, uh, and most of the changes that have last for centuries, that's how they are being implemented. Really,
Mm.
they have been implemented slowly with trial and errors, but usually they stay because of that, because they've been slowly creeped up on the system.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking because, yeah, granted, we're seeing this film. This is very drastic, but we don't see what led to that, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
And that's the scary thing. That
Well,
all
I mean, they give you that little infomercial about murders were out of control and we had to do something about it, and then they came up with pre-crime
yeah,
to deal with it. And that elephant in the room about intent versus actually
exactly.
committing the crime, which is a huge issue in what they're doing. They're putting people away for intending to murder. They haven't actually murdered anybody.
Yeah,
Some of them don't even pull a gun or anything.
No,
You know,
but
at the beginning of the movie, actually, John is telling Danny and the others, like, we're pulling me away, but he really didn't even do anything. And then something drops, and he picks it up, and he says, "I picked it up because it was gonna fall." And like,
he
you never
caught it.
let it fall, so you don't know if it really was gonna fall, but you made that the determination.
You made the call that it would fall and hit the
Exactly.
ground, so you caught it so it wouldn't. And that's what we're doing here.
And it's a controlling approach if you think about it, because you're not willing to take the risk of what the consequences. It's like trying to cheat the laws of causality. If you think about it, it sounds like a terrible idea. You don't want to try to cheat causality. There's always going to be cause and effect. And what happens, I think, and that's what happened. That's why everything went down at the end of the movie, and they took it off and released everybody. Is when you try to cheat causality, it's just gonna start compounding, and just fucking cascade on you in an avalanche.
Even the ending of the film, it shows you it is not a fault proof system, and you know it- every who was the one who the lady was the one who actually said that there's always three versions of that because there's three precogs, and there's always three versions of how that scenario would play out. And one of the versions could very well be that the person was not going to commit a murder or commit a crime.
And she was very, very subtle about how she put it on words because she said that she didn't say that one or the other is wrong. What she said is that not all the time the three of them agree.
Exactly.
And so it's very interesting. It's very multiverse talk if you think about it,
Yeah.
because they're all just possibilities, but you're never gonna get to know.
I mean, the precogs are seeing a murder happen that doesn't happen because they stop it. So basically, you've changed the direction of causality.
Mm-hmm.
And what has that changed in the future from the butterfly effect going out from there?
Yep.
Exactly. There's so many factors, and that's
But you see, the whole thing is if you're being precognitive about a murder and then you stop that murder, then what were you being precognitive about? Because it never happens.
Yeah, you gotta let him kill a couple of people to make it a serial first.
No, but what I'm saying is they're seeing the future as it is going to happen if nobody gets in the way. But then they get in the way, so it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, shouldn't they precog whether or not they're actually going to stop it or not?
So exactly. So like, you're punishing him for something that he did not do.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
Exactly.
So I'm going away to prison, and my wife and her lover get away scot-free.
Yes.
That's really not fair.
Yep. And they kind of did the same thing to John if you think about it. Because when you look at the part where he meets the guy that took his son, I mean, of course he was gonna murder that bastard. Anybody in their normal mind would have done the same, man. If you get to meet eye to eye with somebody like that, and he just tells you with his annoying voice what he did to your kid.
I mean, John Addison was a good cop before pre-crime.
Mm-hmm.
He was good at working out what was going on and looking at all the information, and working out who was the criminal and then tracking them down and all that. So he was a good cop already. Then he got brought into this system, and he was very good at looking through the details and finding where the thing was going down, because that's what they needed to know before it happened, so they could get there and stop it. So he was already very good at details and causality and all that sort of stuff before pre-crime. So, he was knowledgeable and trained and very good at his job. So, without him their hit ratio went way down because he was the guy that knew everything about the system. I mean, it's always the case. The person who knows the most wins. Knowledge is power. And the guy who created the system was able to break it because he knew all the background stuff. I mean, John Addison didn't even know about the Minority Reports until he was told by one of the creators, because he was the top guy in the program, and he didn't know.
You remind me of a good phrase that my grandma always says. She says that who did the rules made the tricks.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And this is the reason why this is such a scary future, because I understand, but the fact remains: you're punishing people for not for committing
Intent.
something they did not do.
You're punishing people for intent, not crime.
And also,
Intent, not even attempted.
well,
Intended.
you know, I wonder if I can go a little farther than that. Because intent based on the precogs. But what if we take the fact that, you know, they don't always agree,
Mm.
and the fact that maybe, you know, there's different scenarios where that person you know, reacts a completely different way. What if that is the actual fact, but we're taking the combined and telling this person has an intent to commit a murder, and for all we know, that person did not even thought about committing the murder. Maybe they were going to kill themselves. So we're saying they're getting sentenced.
Self murder.
They're getting sentenced for intent, but maybe that person did not have the intent at all.
Well, it's also a complicating factor in that if you are able to review the precogs information and you know what your future is going to be, you can change it. You can have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And the two people who had that opportunity were Addison and director Lamar, and both of them chose something different. I mean, Addison chose not to shoot the guy, and the guy forced him to shoot him anyway. So that was a bit of a bummer. But Lamar decided to kill himself because he knew he was screwed either way.
Yep. I mean, you gotta give it to the guy. That was a smart move. I mean, there was nothing much more down the line for him. You know,
In doing so, he actually
he escaped. He escaped his sentence, literally.
well, but he was detrimental to the entire system.
Oh no, absolutely. But it's like I did something bad, but you don't get to punish me for it.
And now his whole system, the system
know?
he worked all his life for, is proven to be
Hypocritical.
not factual.
Yeah, no, his life turns out to be hypocritical because he's chasing and locking people down for things that he has done. You know?
Yeah, and that is in part the scary part of this future. You know, that's, you know, I always joke around by saying this is kind of like a scientific horror movie.
Oh yeah.
I think it's not so much a horror movie, but a murder mystery with sci-fi trappings.
That yeah. I just call it horror movies because a horror movie because of the how that future scares the crap out of me.
You call it a horror movie because you're a wuss. That's what you do.
Oh wow. So anything else that you guys wanted to add before we move on to our last question?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Okay. So
yeah, I think so too.
The last question on this film is what was your last impression on the film? This is obviously
I was caught before I even could have a last impression. So this is Minority Report, so I don't have any. Just kidding.
I think I want to hear Ray's first. I'm very, very curious.
You want my Minority Report, do you?
Exactly. The Minority Report.
Make sure that there are no ripples.
Oh, the ripples are going the other way, man. They're totally going the other way.
The reason why I'm very curious is because I've seen it twice, and I'm very, very interested to hear his differences, because he saw it like the first time he saw it was at release, and the last time he saw it was recently. So there's a huge gap, and I'm really curious to hear the differences between those two, and your last impression on revisiting this film recently.
Sure. So, like I said, it didn't really land well with me at the first time I saw it. I don't necessarily dislike murder mysteries. Knives Out. Do you know the movie Knives Out? Have you seen that one? It's not sci-fi, so maybe you haven't.
But I have not seen the film, and I don't think I see the film.
Knives Out is excellent. The sequel sucks, but the original was very smart and very well acted. If you like murder mysteries, I recommend.
Sharknado kind of thing.
No, nothing.
No, I haven't seen Sharknado, so I couldn't give a comparison. But Knives Out was very good. I really enjoyed it. This movie I didn't enjoy particularly much the first time around, and I'm still trying to pin down exactly why that was. Maybe I was just at an age where I wanted my sci-fi to be shiny, and this was not shiny.
Yeah,
it's pretty grungy. But having watched it again just recently with you know, a couple more decades of experience and supposed wisdom, I can't guarantee that there is any, but there's supposedly more wisdom as you get older. I really found it to have a lot of depth. And hearing what you said, Robert, about, you know, they were going for the RoboCop aesthetic and then changed their mind partway through, I can totally see that now. I can see that some scenes are really grungy and I was almost listening for the that music to start playing. But yeah, I mean, it like I said, it's very much like iRobot, and they're only 2 years apart, those two movies, so they're very much in the same vein, in the same sort of period of movie making. In that, you know, they're discovering what they can do now with VFX and you know, green screening and doing whole scenes with just people running around in suits with dots on them. So they're finding out what they can do with that and sort of starting to stretch their legs into the digital realm. So it was interesting in that way. But both iRobot and this movie are sci-fi murder mysteries. They are both sci-fi murder mysteries with deep plots that are talking about how everything might look utopian on the surface, but trust me, it's not that way underneath. It's like the shit's still there. They've just paved over it.
I think that's it. I think that's the paradox of utopians. Utopianism. It's not really an utopia. Never it is. It's never. No. There's something always underneath between the lines. Very dark. Always.
Definitely. I mean, I think you were right too, Gio, in that it's got cyberpunk leanings as well.
It feels more cyberpunk, like when he goes, like he's out of the police, when he's doing like the life day to day in the city, when he's running away, when he's operating himself. That felt like it gave me a vibe of cyberpunk when those scenes were on, for sure.
It didn't have lots of cyberware, but having your eyeballs replaced so that you scan as somebody else, that's pretty cyberpunk. I mean, they weren't cyberized, but still, you know.
Yeah.
What about the poor bastard you got the eyeballs from? That was never mentioned.
Yeah.
He probably got another pair.
Maybe he was a corpse. Who knows?
Yep.
Corpsicle. I feel that this movie has a lot of depth. And, you know, it mightn't be for everyone, but if you appreciate a good murder mystery, and, of course, if you've listened to us, we've spoiled the shit out of it. So hopefully you've already watched it. I thought that it was a good movie. It's a Spielberg movie, so it's got a happy ending. So Robert was happy. When I say happy ending, it's only for some people. Other people.
Yeah, Lamar didn't have a happy ending, so yeah.
No. And Whitworth didn't have a happy ending.
Exactly.
He did, but it was like on himself.
Well, Whitworth was the guy who you could feel sorry for, because he showed up and he looked like a complete asshole, but he was just doing his job really well.
Yeah, bro.
And he told the wrong guy and died for it.
Yep.
And that's like, oh, poor bastard.
Wow.
You know, I mean, he looked like an asshole, but he was just doing his job in the way that he needed to be a bit of an asshole to do it properly. And I feel the sorriest for him out of just about everybody in the movie. I mean, you can feel sorry for Adderton for losing his son, but excuse me, my cybernetics are going off again. Stupid thing.
You gotta crumb the fuck up, man.
Oh, I'm a 1% cyborg. I've got to work on it. you got to feel a bit sorry for Adderton as well because he lost his son, but then he turned to drugs, and he wasn't a great human being.
It was
He
funny.
was.
It was funny how drugs were okay in this reality. Like you
Hmm.
can just go and get wasted legally.
I'm a policeman, but I'll do illegal drugs. That's fine.
Yeah, like you can be a marginal drug addict and
Hmm.
not be really shown by society some way and function.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
function.
he wasn't
That's the
functioning all that
reality of
well.
drugs.
Well, his work was his life, and when he wasn't at work, he was just wallowing in sorrow. Even 6 years later, so he wasn't moving on.
Oh,
He
no.
was just using his job to distract himself when he could, and when he couldn't, he did drugs and watched old family movies.
Better than the poor, right?
So yeah, I mean, it was a movie that it wasn't flawed, but it just sort of rubbed me up the wrong way when I first watched it. But on the second watch, I wouldn't say it was something that I could watch over and over again, but it did have its points to discuss, which we've discussed, and it did have its messages. So I think it's worth a watch or two, but I don't know that I could watch it 10 times like Robert has.
I enjoyed this film. I really did. And I think at this point in my life, it's just nostalgic.
Mhm.
Because I always go back to this film as being one of the ones that opened me up to a different perspective on things that I did not know. Um, I'm sure nowadays is well. I could be surprised. Someone out there might watch this and not being privy to the concepts in this film. So in that case, it would probably be the same experience that I had when I watched this film for the first time. But that is basically one of the reasons. The aesthetics are definitely unique. I'm kind of glad that the studios decided not to go for the RoboCop aesthetics, and I think the mixture that they end up with has this very unique style, which I can really appreciate. But I think one of the things that I appreciate the most is the thoughts that this movie evokes when it comes to the ethics on technology, the ethics on
Surveillance.
crime, and how that could be solved in the future. It gets you started in that conversation. Um, it's granted it's 2002 this film, so if you watch it, you'll if you're not familiar with the concept, you'll definitely be open up to a new idea, new thought process. Um, and how scary this future is, and the reason why it makes it more scary to me, at least, is the fact of its plausibility and how it can see things that are being implemented or started to being implemented today, how they could lead to uh, that future. However, there's still the precogs, which is a complete non-scientific thing that was done in this completely science fiction film. But yeah, all the concepts around it, like uh, the constant advertising targeted to you based on um your
Tailor to your needs and likes.
That would get old really quick.
so
I have
your
to say.
identity. It's, at least today we're not that far off. I mean, it's scarily close though.
If you think about it, not only with advertising, but that this happens to everything in life, and it kind of connects to being exposed to things that you should not be exposed by your normal nature, because that's not normal life. But we tend to become desensitized of things. The more exposed we are, it could be anything. It could be violence. It could be too much happiness. That's what balance is always important, you know.
Mhm.
So like that excess everywhere of everything, it pushes people more over the edge to go into that zombie mode You know,
Mhm.
that fear of losing what's more valuable to a person. It's authenticity.
Yeah.
It's identity. You know.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that is one of a perfect example of why I feel this movie. If you haven't seen it, at least watch it once with an analytical mind. Obviously, there's always going to be some holes. We have discussed some of those, but it's one of the films that gets you think. It gets you thinking about the concepts that are being displayed, and I'll definitely want to hear from you. So if you watch this film um, for the first time, I'm very, very curious to hear your thoughts. So you can reach out to us and let us know.
Hmm.
But is that I think we kind of all agree that this film, if you haven't watched it, you definitely need to watch.
Absolutely, I think, and I mean, a good observation is, and I've said this in, and if you know why I'm chuckling, you should go to YouTube and check it out. One of the oh my god, this joke got my train of thought off, bro. uh, oh my god, I had
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
you did it.
Got him.
Ray is successful.
The the train of thought sniper.
Yep, it's gone.
Oh god, well, that's
But
fine.
yeah, it's a must watch. I think. Here, there it is. It came
You
back.
found it.
Yeah, I found it. Uh, m- every movie that you watch, usually you can see that they resemble the structure of the structure or the vision of what the future was gonna be in that time. And you can see the similarities in most movies that were back in those times around the same topics. They cannot have that similarity, and it has evolved gradually. Movies about future cities were not the same 30 years before that or 20 years before that. They're not the same now, you know. So in one way or another, it's interesting to watch it from with an analytical mind and be able to see that distinctly in the scene of the movies.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Okay, so I feel that that concludes this episode. Unless anybody has anything else to add, we can move on to the next segment. And of course, I gotta find mine.
The science can sci-fi.
The science in sci-fi.
There you go. He found it.
Yeah, we lose things here. You know, our thoughts, our buttons.
Our trains of thought. Yeah.
I never lose your buttons, Robert. I love pushing them.
Warning: doors opening on the left. Okay, so I mean, how many future science technologies do you want to see in one movie? Because this one was packed with them. I got to say that watching this again for Science Fiction Remnant was really enjoyable in that you can sort of start checking off the list. You got little spider bots, you got concussion rifles, you've got fully automated cybercar factories, which was interesting in Washington DC. They're making cars. Sorry, Detroit, you're out.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean,
Have you noticed? Have you noticed that, like in many of the futuristic movies, there's no uniqueness and authenticity to cars design. It's like they're all the fucking same.
Well, there could have been different designs, but we didn't see them, and I mean that could have been a factor of the budget. That could have been a factor of they had roads that were vertical, and these things had to stick to them, so they had to be of a particular size to work on these roads. So, and the question is, were all cars in America like that now, or were these particular to Washington DC for whatever reason. You know,
Yeah,
like
that was never explained, but yeah, that's a good
whether there was a a mandate in Washington D.C. about electric cars, so no longer using fossil fuels for personal vehicles and all that sort of thing. Because I mean, it was a very integrated system. The freeways and the roadways were designed for those cars, and even to the point where the cars would go up the sides of the buildings and then park in your what would be normally be your balcony space, and then you get out into your house. So, I mean, I hope they had an internal stairway for like emergencies, but we never saw that either. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was interesting in a way, but it kind of was very prescribed. A lot of this, the techno wonders and the futuristic elements of this movie were very prescribed, and I think that was deliberate. Another big thing was the spider bots. They were very interesting in that they were like parts of the police belt, which was like the bat belt with all the groovy little technological gadgets on it, and they're just flicking these things out, and their legs pop out, and they go running around the building, eye scanning everybody.
Now
and you've got just before you go on, let me just finish the paradigm. So you have a person outside in a flyer scanning the building for heat signatures of human size, and then the bots go around to all of these heat signatures and scan their eyes. So basically, they're searching the entire building for somebody. And this is what Addison was caught by when he was dobbed into the police by the eye surgeon that didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to say, Gia?
No, I was just going to add to that it's also kind of paradoxical that law enforcement are supposed to make you feel safe, but when you see those spider little device, you feel like they're freaking predators.
Well, it was interesting that the buildings were built so the spiders could get into anybody's apartments. Those light tracks in the floor were pretty much clearly put there, not necessarily to light the room, but to give the spider bots a way in, even if the door was locked and under the door was blocked.
Yep.
They could still get in under those travel ways with the lights. So, I mean, it was pretty much designed that way by the looks of things.
Yep. It's everything engineered and tailored to that system.
And those AI, those bots must have had at least some sort of AI in it, because they started zapping him when he wouldn't show them his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they were mean little fuckers, actually.
Oh yeah. But I think that type of AI is not the AI that we have been burning too much, talking too much about it. It's more of an AI programmed to follow a set of rules, and it has what do you call in programming, Robert? When you put conditions, and you have conditions, so the conditions are not met, that's the counter action to try to get the result that whatever device is meant to get. So it's not like a sentient AI that can make choices and really like talk or go deep into all the things. It's more of a tool. It felt that way, at least.
So there's a website called ifactive.com which sells products. I haven't looked into what their stuff is, but it's it's for sort of techie products. But they had a white paper called Minority Report 15 Years Later, Technologies for Point of Sale and Retail. So I guess they're talking about scannable watches and maybe subcutaneous point of sale activators that are linked to your bank account.
His audio went off.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you fine.
Okay. I can hear me fine. Maybe GS had an audio glitch. But yeah, so this white paper talks about basically what we talk about here, which is the technologies of today becoming a lot like what was in this movie. So we're looking at large factor screens that you can interact with by waving your hands around, sort of like well, in video game console terms, the Wii and there was one for what is it? Crap. What's Xbox? Xbox had a thing where you could jump around and interact with the games too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it had like a scanning device with 2 camera lenses, I think. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean that sort of technology is coming along. So we're not quite there yet with the whole gloves that can, move data around and everything like that. But there may be systems like that out there, but they're not mainstream. They're
Let me add
enterprise.
before you continue.
Yeah.
The concept, it's used right now on Oculus 2.
Oh yes, of course.
Mhm.
It's not like in the movie because it is. I like to think it's glitchy. And Gio, you could probably correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's usable. I have
Yeah.
used it to type and to point and to but you have to kind of like be careful. You have to like move your mouse, and sometimes it doesn't go where you want it to go. However,
Sometimes the actual finger you have to clip on so you can click on something doesn't actually recognize it. But I use it a lot, and it is true that it's kind of self-learning. So the more you use it, the better it gets at it.
now the one from Apple is the one that I think would be closer to the one you're talking about, Ray. However, it is not that mainstream, especially with that ticker price of $3,000. So yes, I just wanted to add that to your comment.
Yeah, well, there's been forays into it for the consumer market, but yeah, the prices are still too high for that sort of thing. But I suspect that there are enterprise versions that are quite useful in like medicine and things, maybe even policing, which are probably out there being either trialed or used at the moment. So I would expect more of that in the coming years, but it's certainly on its way. The large-scale digital displays that were pretty much everywhere in that movie, including the cereal box that wouldn't shut up, and he threw it across the room. I could see myself doing that in the morning. It's like, shut up, you stupid box, Toss.
Fuck you, Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch, you're way too energetic first thing in the morning. Piss off.
Tricks is for kids and adults.
I can see Gio abusing the cereal box as well. But yeah, I mean, we're going down that path. Possibly not the digital newspaper. I can see how they might have thought that would be a thing, but people will just get their news on their tablet or their large format smartphone these days. So I don't see that becoming a thing, but certainly, digital
certainly
news.
me roughening up a cereal box, yes.
I could see you getting nasty to a cereal box.
The future that I see is a light different. I see wearables and AR. That's how I see the future. I see a future where people are walking with glasses, and wherever you look at something, there's the advertising, or it would be something similar to what we see in this film, except that it would be coming from our glasses.
Yeah, good. It wasn't clear how it was personal to him when it was talking to him, because there was all other people walking around there as well, and would they be hearing something different? But if you had sort of augmented reality glasses with audio, then yes, it could be coming through your glasses and being directly privatized to you, and it wouldn't be bothering other people. So I could see that happening. Mm-hmm. So rather than having an active display, you would have an area that activated the glasses as advertising. And then the glasses would provide the advertising rather than it being there on the wall and talking to you. So yeah, I fully agree that augmented reality would be the way it would go. But
would you want to walk around the city with augmented reality glasses on and throwing advertising at you 24/7? You just take the
bumping into
fucking things
everybody.
off.
Well, that's a great thing about AR. You wouldn't be bumping against
Mm.
everybody that you walk by. That's the reason why AR, I think, is so powerful and why it's such a technology that has so much potential. But yes, I would not want 24/7 advertising as I walk a city.
No.
It does have a lot of potential, but there's those people who are easily distracted, and then they step out onto the road because the AR is distracting them and they don't see the bus coming or the truck couldn't coming, and then they get isekai. So I mean, there's upsides and downsides to these things.
They should come up with an anime with someone got isekai because of AR.
Yeah, it'll be there sometime next week probably. I mean, there's every other variation on the theme. I'm sure that one's coming too. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these technologies like real-time facial recognition, central London has massive number of cameras and facial recognition systems where they're picking up people walking through there and IDing them, which feels like a massive invasion of privacy, but I don't know how they get around it in England, but they do. Multi-touch technology, interactive technologies for the context of retail and point of sale. I mean, you walk in and they scan your eyes and the store AI recognizes you and starts talking to you about your last purchase. And have you seen these? You've been interested in these because you've searched them a couple of times. So we have them here. They're in stock. They're in your favorite color. Let's go, baby. Get the credit card out.
It's on sale.
You know, I mean, you could see this happening, and people who aren't, you know, have the fortitude to resist this sort of thing, that they're just going to end up broke, man, with racked up credit cards. I can just see it happening. It'd be worse than gambling.
And there was a time when you thought it was cool to have them.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, I can see all this stuff coming even, you know, closer to what we see in this movie in the near future with the AI technology burgeoning as it is. We'll be seeing store AIs interacting with you when you walk in. I think that's a given. Whether it's through augmented reality glasses where they connect you, and if you allow it, it'll project a holographic assistant who will then take you around to all the stuff you're interested in and ask you how your last purchase was. And then, you know, rather than having you fill out a survey, it'll just talk to you and get your survey data. You know, I could see it all happening. I could see us going down that line. And a lot of people are resistant to emails asking you to do surveys, but they will chat to somebody about their experience.
Yes.
Because it's easy.
Have you noticed?
It's easy, they get your data.
Have you noticed how that's something that has be preserved throughout all our mankind history? Is that the most efficient way to get things out there to circulate is word of mouth.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's not only somebody telling you, but it's usually somebody that use whatever it is, product or service. So it doesn't come only with the advice of use it, but also it's like they're giving you the experience. So it's like if a friend tells you that they use something, usually you're already prone to be like, okay, if he used it, doesn't have to be shit necessarily, you know? Let me try it.
Well, you trust your friend more than you trust some random stranger, like a salesperson or somebody you see in a video or anything like that. So
I trust nobody, so I trust you as much as I'm a stranger.
Yeah, but I mean, you trust your friends. You've known them. You know that whether they're liars or not. I mean, I have at least one friend who's a pathological liar. I know he is, so I don't trust anything he says. I'm still his friend.
I don't know if I'm cynical, but yeah, I know I trust my friend and I know them well. On that curated version, they allow me to see them.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. But I mean, if the person can prove that they use something, like they say, "Hey, I used this and this was the result," or
I use this butt plug. Okay, how are you gonna prove me that you used it?
I'm wearing it. What are you saying? Easy peasy. There you go. Gotcha.
There you go.
Gotcha.
There you go. Look at that face. Indignation.
I got both of you.
Yeah, Gio. Ray got you. So
I got you too, Gio. I got to
Oh,
laugh.
the only difference is that I don't indignated when it happens. I actually laugh my ass
Yeah, well,
off.
he's indignant and he's cacking himself
Like
laughing.
he's
I
in down
feel like
under,
I've
so
got
he
both
doesn't.
of you.
He's in down under, so he doesn't know that he there. Yeah.
It's a little tricky.
yeah,
Remember when we started the video and I was upside down?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't turned the video over yet, so it was right set up for me. But, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, look, this technology is coming, man, and there's going to be more and more and more of it, and it's quite impressive that this movie. I mean, I haven't read the original Philip K. Dick short story, so I don't know if he was predicting it in the short story.
Yeah, me neither.
But certainly, whoever wrote the screenplay and the special effects guys and everything, they did a bang up job of bringing to the silver screen these expected future technologies that we're now starting to see.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah.
Have you guys got any of the tech bitsies that you want to cover? I sort of focused on the hard technology, but there's a whole lot of other stuff there that.
Yeah, no, I usually just put it there in case someone wants to cover it.
I was going to, but we kind of went really over most of them, like predictive
Yeah.
policy, facial recognition. We kind of talked about them throughout the show too.
Yeah.
So they mostly covered.
It was such a part of the movie that it was kind of hard to leave it to the end, I got to say.
Yeah, it was very, very to the core of the plot, to be honest. That's true.
I mean, I'd feel anxious, and I'm not somebody who suffers from anxiety regularly, but I would feel anxious if my eyes were being scanned every time I got onto a train, every time I got off a train, every time I walked into a store, every time I was walking through a mall. I'd just feel like, fuck, I'm just being watched all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I feel terrible.
Oh, yes.
I'd be so anxious.
I kind of understand the sentiment, even though I don't care of being watched. But at the same time, it's not like I go out or like to be crowded places.
Gio, you just go and get some eyeballs off a dog just to fuck with them and then put in your skull.
Hello,
Mr. Doberman Pincer. How are you today?
More likely I would do that to a human than to a dog.
No, I mean you would have a dog's eyes inserted into your heads just to screw with the system.
Probably, yeah.
Because you're chaos incarnate.
Yeah,
just woof at the camera.
That's chaos, man. It's in your innate nature.
Yep. You created a monster.
Your mama created a monster. I had nothing to do with it.
No, man. She raised a good kid. The world fucked me up.
You let it.
Oh, nice.
Hey, I can be a victim once in a while, right?
What was that saying the other day? The person who is tricked is at fault because they weren't wise enough to recognize the trick.
Yep. True. That is true.
And I wanna invite the audience too. So if you feel that we missed on the science that you recognize on the film, I like to have those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in this movie to sort of go through.
Exactly. I mean, if we go by everything in this film, this probably be just 2 hours of us talking about science.
Easily.
And if you want to talk about conspiracy, anarchy, and flat Earth and inner worlds, I'm your guy.
And of course, you can have all these conversations on our Discord, which is easy.
Roswell was real.
Yeah, Roswell exists. This is true.
Yeah,
it's a place. It's real.
You can find it on Google Maps.
But if you wanted to have any of these conversations, we have a Discord channel. The link to the Discord channel, the invite to the Discord channel will be in the show notes. But of course, if you're watching this a month after it's released as a pod on YouTube, which you should really do because it's a crack up a lot of times when we're losing our shit on the video. But oh, Jesus, he's got the sword out. Now we're all in trouble. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you need to watch this on YouTube. But yeah, there's a link on the YouTube video right here. You can scan with your phone and join us on Discord. And we'd love you to. The more interaction we can have with you guys, the more we can get an idea of if we're going down the right track with the podcast. And you can give us some more ideas so we can give you some more quality content. We always love a bit of feedback, and we always take it to heart and see what we can do to improve on the show, because we all want the show to go ever onwards and ever upwards. Of course, we also have a website, which not only gives you access to the latest podcast, but also the back catalogue. And we've just changed the QR code on the screen now so that you can scan that one. But if you are not watching via the web and you're listening to the podcast, it is, of course, pretty easy. It's sciencefictionremnant.com. So easy to get a hold of us there. And also our ever-increasing list of articles that not only Robert and Geo write. I should write some too, being a writer and all. But they've been writing articles, and we've also had a few guest articles on there. So if you want to check those out, there's a little bit of deep thinking to do with the importance of science fiction and other science fiction-y concepts that are leaking into general science to do with things like black holes and what they might represent, and all sorts of topics like that. So check that out. That's some good reading if you're into the science that comes along with science fiction, which we all know and love. Other options to contact with us, of course, you could become a Patreon. We don't have a lot of Patreons yet, but it would be nice. So if you want to become a Patreon, please do. And the links come back because we're both clicking on it. So we have a Patreon system. You can get behind the scenes info, and if we get a few people joining up, we'll do behind the scenes videos as well. So you'll find out the deep, dark secrets of Captain Chaos and just how soft the underbelly of Admiral Happy Endings is. And of course, the mad scientist is just mad. So don't
you might want to pet it.
Or you could support us by buying us a coffee. I don't drink coffee, so it'll be for one of these other two guys. But you could buy us a coffee. There's a linky link to scan there on the video. But basically, we really appreciate that our regular sign-ins and our new guests are listening to the pod. We love talking about sci-fi, and we hope you love listening to our conversations. And if you want to join our conversations, we'd love you to do it. Either jump on the Discord and type away, and we'll interact with you there. Or if you have an IP that you're really hung up about and just need to share with the universe, we're happy to talk about that one too. It may be if we've already covered it. Sorry?
No, that you can come and fight me.
Okay, so our belligerent member is the Chaos Man down here, but yeah, we no, God, there's another train derail. We would love to have you on the show talking about your favorite IP, but of course, if we've covered part of that IP already, we might have to pick other episodes, other linked shows or source material or something like that. But this is basically how I joined the podcast crew. These guys here were talking about Alita Battle Angel, and as far as I could tell, screwing it up royally. So I had to get on and help them out, and I stayed. So, you know,
we're still working hard to fuck up IP so we can get people involved.
Yeah, they screw it up, and I put them back together. That's just how it is.
So but we hit things.
Yeah, I know. It's happened before. It could happen again. But so, yeah, like we'd love to have you on as guests, be you members of other podcasts or just general listeners who have a favorite IP that you're really hooked on, and you will probably know more about it than us. So come on and educate us and tell us all about it. We'd really love to learn about what you love, and we'd love to share with you what we love. And that's all about the hashtag, which is This is Sci-Fi. And that's what it's about, and that's what we're about here at Science Fiction Remnant, sharing the love of sci-fi. So please join us again to talk about more awesome IPs in sci-fi, and bring your own if you've got one, and we'll be happy to have you on. We'll organize a time and get you on, and you can be a guest. So have a listen or sign up, and let's get talking. Join our Discord.
Awesome.
But that's all for now. Enjoy, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Next time.
Bye for now.